Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to all of our dignitaries. We're very glad that you could join us today for the official announcement of the official launch of Western Union in the Cayman Islands. I'm Angela Piercy. I'm the head of communications in the Ministry of Financial Services and Commerce, and we are very fortunate today to have a distinguished panel with us. I'd like to introduce them in the order in which they will speak. We have the Premier of the Cayman Islands, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, Western Union Senior Regional Manager, Andre Largy, Chief Executive Officer of Grace Kennedy Money Services, Michelle Allen, the Managing Director of Scotiabank and Trust Cayman Limited, Sloan Muldoon, and the Minister for Financial Services and Commerce, Wayne Panton. After the panelists speak, we will have about 30 minutes for media question and answers. And the media already know the protocol. Please introduce yourselves and say the house that you're representing before you ask your question. At this point, if you could ask all phones to be put on silent and vibrate so that we do not disturb the proceedings. And with that, I will turn it over to the Premier.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today is a great day in the Cayman Islands. Heading into the season of Thanksgiving, we already had very much to be thankful for, but the resumption of Western Union remittance services has given us even more reasons to be thankful. I'm sure everyone agrees that the ability to conveniently send money to family and friends so that they have the financial resources they need is worth celebrating, particularly at this time of the year. The disruption in services, inconvenience, and uncertainty created by the loss of correspondent banking and the complete inability of money services businesses to accept Cayman Islands dollars from persons wishing to send money home to their loved ones was a major problem for the island over the course of the past few months, and one that the government took most seriously. I thank the Ministry of Financial Services and Commerce under the direction of Minister Panton, which worked incredibly hard to facilitate the results we are celebrating today. And I should also observe that the Cabinet also worked to accommodate and expedite the various approvals that were necessary to allow this business to resume. Having said all of that, I should note, however, the tools of government, namely policy and legislation, certainly work to support commerce. But it is also important to observe that the tools to actually negotiate and enter into commercial arrangements are firmly in the hands of the private sector. Nevertheless, the Ministry of Financial Services and Commerce and government, I believe, showed mettle and dedication that, quite frankly, makes me proud. I wish to single out Councillor McTaggart, who is sitting in the front here, who had to pinch hit for Minister Panton from time to time during this crisis, but notably at a particularly difficult public meeting about the issue on 29th of September this year. I thank him. For months, Ministry staff encouraged, facilitated, and ensured that there was momentum in solving the money services businesses situation, which allowed the commercial decision to be made by the relative parties as quickly as possible. This was a classic example of leading from behind. And yet, while the pieces were falling into place, the public largely was unaware of what government was doing. I acknowledge that this was intentional. As with most commercial negotiations, there was a high degree of sensitivity and integrity that had to be respected during the process, and the Ministry handled these sensitivities with confidentiality and diplomacy. Our financial services regulator, the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority, also worked hard to bring about this day. I thank them for their stalwart efforts in upholding the global standards for money services businesses and for the confidence in our jurisdiction that their oversight brings. With the support of government, Grace Kennedy Money Services, Western Union, and Scotiabank have developed a viable business model for remittances. On behalf of the people of the Cayman Islands, I wish to thank you all for seeking out each other, for bringing your strength and stability to the negotiating table, and for hammering out the agreement that has made so many lives already easier. In closing, from the outset of when this issue came to light, government consistently said the solution was not governmental, but commercial. As government, our role is to act through policy and legislation in a manner that supports the productivity, stability, and satisfaction of our island's residents. It is then the remit of the private sector to take those policies and legislation and to use them for commercial purposes. This is exactly what happened in this case. Every participant acted in accordance with their distinct roles, and today we have an excellent outcome. Again, I extend my gratitude to all of the persons who participated in the arrangements and negotiations that have led to Western Union's launch. Like many persons in Cayman today, I am giving thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone, distinguished guests. It has been approximately 20 weeks since our services ceased here in Cayman. As of Tuesday morning, yesterday, I am very proud to say that we are back open and available for business. Western Union's vision is to be a globally recognized leader in cross-currency, cross-border money movement. By strengthening the cross-border platform that today sets Western Union apart, it is the rare combination of an omni-channel network across 200 countries and currencies, the ability to exchange money in 130 currencies, the trusted relationship between Western Union and its agents, our global compliance program, and our technology that is the backbone behind our capabilities. Our business is a complex one. We facilitate customers around the world to send money to loved ones across the globe, securely and within minutes. We operate in an industry that has inherent risks and challenges: money laundering, consumer fraud, countering the terrorist financing. Western Union invests substantially in its compliance program and as an industry leader in addressing these challenges. This investment is critical in securing the right partnerships with agent representatives and financial institutions who are also committed to addressing these challenges and providing a seamless experience for our customers. After careful evaluation, we have secured the partnership with Grace Kennedy Money Services in relaunching operations here in Cayman. Grace Kennedy Money Services has over 2 decades of experience in the remittance industry, now representing Western Union across 10 Caribbean markets. We are very pleased that they will bring their formidable expertise and know-how to the Caymanian customers. In the near future, consumers can expect even more convenient locations, innovations in transactions, and a team of dedicated professionals working tirelessly to ensure Western Union is available whenever there is need to move money for better. Our sincere thanks to the Caymanian authorities who have been supportive during this process, recognizing the critical role that remittances play in the lives of many of its citizens and residents. Finally, I wish to thank those members of the Western Union team not present here today who have worked tirelessly to resume services for our customers. Folks, we are back up and running, and the team at Western Union could not be any more pleased. Thank you.
Premier of the Cayman Islands, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, Minister of the Financial Service and Commerce, Wayne Panton, Senior Regional Manager of the Caribbean Western Union, Andre Largy, Managing Director, Scotiabank, Sloan Muldoon, other specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Grace Kennedy Money Services is especially pleased and find itself fitting to be here today. Just last week, we marked our 25th anniversary, a year of collaboration and partnership with Western Union in Jamaica. Over the years, we have collaborated on many ventures in many countries, and today it's with this understanding in mind, these 2 mission-driven companies have joined forces, yet again, to continue the provision of service for the people of the Cayman Islands. Some of you might not be familiar with my company, and let me ask you to indulge me for a minute. Grace Kennedy Money Services is the umbrella arm for our bill payment company, Bill Express, FX Trader, our trading business, and of course, our remittance business. We are also a subsidiary of Grace Kennedy Limited. This is a company listed on 2 stock exchanges in Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. Our parent company enjoys the inevitable position of being well known for its products and services of high quality standard respected all throughout Jamaica. With such a track record and over our 90-year-old company, it has taken us to new horizon, expanding into the Eastern Caribbean, Belize, North America, United Kingdom, Africa, and other countries. Our partnership with Western Union was established in 1990 and saw us serving as exclusive agents. This successful partnership is expanded into Trinidad and Tobago in 1992, in Guyana in 1993. In 2006, we became agents in the Eastern Caribbean market, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, and Anguilla. In 2013, we saw us moving into the British Virgin Islands. Today, in moving into the Cayman Island, our network will stretch over 10 countries, as Andre just said. Our team of dedicated and motivated and creative staff will greatly contribute to the success of this brand. We are excited about the potential of this venture as our business is about to be launched into this new realm. Grace Kennedy Money Services continuously invests in robust and innovative compliance systems, which are critical to our business, allowing us to protect our consumers while meeting all regulatory requirements. As we celebrate our 25th anniversary, it is fitting that we're also expanding into new markets. Once our new locations are up and running, the next order of business will be the introduction of other complementary money service businesses. Initially, we'll have a total of 4 locations in Grand Cayman by Foster's Food Services and 1 in Grand Cayman Brac, opening Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Our presence in the Cayman Island will see the introduction of regular Western Union money transfer services that is familiar to all, where you can send and receive money worldwide. By mid-December in 2005, we hope to commence our first promotion here, Western Union Scratch and Win. This will run for 4 weeks. The campaign will be primarily on media, radio, and TV, also our website and Facebook pages. There's a vibrant community here in the Cayman Islands, and we look forward not only to welcoming our new customers to the GKMS family, but working along with all stakeholders in contributing to the development of their communities. Before I close, I would also like to thank everyone who has assisted us in making this process happen. The Cayman Island Monetary Authority and their principal officers. Special thanks to our lawyers, Higgs and Johnson and their principal, and I want to specifically thank Francine Bryce, who has been remarkable through this process. Special thanks to the government of the Cayman Islands through the Ministry of Financial Services and its principal officers. Again, thanks to Scotia and Cayman, who has also been remarkable during this experience. Thanks to our partners, Western Union, for consistently demonstrating your confidence in us and our team. We look forward to growing with you another 25 years and beyond. Special thanks to Woodrow Foster of Foster's Foods, our agent in Grand Cayman. And I really want to express a big thank you to my hardworking team for their dedication and persistent in getting Cayman up and running has been remarkable again. The team continues to demonstrate excellence and epitomizes our Grace Kennedy culture. In closing, we commit to ensuring that Western Union, through Grace Kennedy Money Services, will continue to support the community and build a mutually beneficial partnership here in Grand Cayman. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Good afternoon, distinguished guests and members of the press. So I'm proud to be here this afternoon to announce Scotiabank's partnership with Grace Kennedy and Western Union to deliver money transfer services to the residents of the Cayman Islands. Scotiabank has a long-standing relationship with Grace Kennedy in the Caribbean region, and we're confident that Grace Kennedy and Western Union have the knowledge, experience, and ability to successfully deliver the valuable service to the people of the Cayman Islands. Scotiabank is pleased to support Grace Kennedy's strategic vision of becoming a global consumer group and further support their expansion across the Caribbean, today welcoming them to the Cayman Islands. Scotiabank continues to see the Caribbean as an important part of our international footprint, and this announcement demonstrates our continued commitment to the Cayman Islands community. Scotiabank has been in the Caribbean region for over 125 years and will be celebrating 50 years in the Cayman Islands in 2016. Scotiabank remains the preeminent bank in the Caribbean, and we look forward to supporting the Cayman Islands community through our services and philanthropic programs for years to come. Scotiabank looks forward to continuing to expand our longstanding relationship with Grace Kennedy and Western Union and welcome them once again to the Cayman Islands. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first start by thanking everyone here and welcoming all of you in the audience. It is certainly my pleasure to finally be in a position to sit here and acknowledge, as we have all just done in a very formal way, that we are at an end to a very difficult period that both our consumers and the government, in terms of the Financial Services Ministry, as well as the Commerce Ministry, have had to deal with over the past several months. It is one which I think has touched all of us. We all have many friends, colleagues, who are of sometimes different nationalities, but certainly our own Caymanians as well, who have had to deal with this issue and the level of difficulty and inconvenience that has been involved and the level of uncertainty. It was not certainly one of nationality, it was one of a national issue for us. It affected everyone. And I'd like to again sincerely thank all of you, and in particular Grace Kennedy, Western Union, and Scotiabank for coming together in such an effective way to provide a resolution to this problem. Of course, it would be remiss of me not to thank very sincerely the hardworking members of my ministry, as well as those members of our regulator, the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority, and certainly my colleagues, my Premier, and other colleagues in Cabinet who have worked very hard as well to help to resolve this issue. I think what I'd like to do right now is specifically join the Premier in thanking some of the individuals on our side who were involved in the ministry. And I'd particularly start with Chief Officer Dr. Dax Masteo. Dax, I don't know if you want to wave your hand just for a sec, just so everybody knows you, just in case they don't. The Department of Financial Services Director, Michelle Bahadur. I think Michelle is somewhere here as well. And Policy Officer, Mr. Wilbur Welcome. Of course, the ever-effective Ministry Head of Communications, Mrs. Angela Piercy. But I would also join the Premier in recognizing my colleague, Councillor McTaggart, specifically for the work that he did. And as the Premier said, he certainly put himself in the spotlight and the line of fire, so to speak, to some extent, in trying to address some of these issues in circumstances where we didn't actually have a specific solution to be able to communicate, but just that we were working on it. And in those circumstances, when you're dealing with people who are hurting, who are frustrated, who are confused, it does get difficult. And I certainly want to thank my colleague for standing in for me at that very critical time. I certainly would also thank another colleague, Mr. Andre Ebanks, who works with, he's a policy guru with Michelle Bahadur in the Department of Financial Services. Andre sat there beside Councillor McTaggart and addressed many of these issues as well. And not just that, Andre has been one of the, along with Michelle, has been one of the lead people involved in the ministry in assisting to bring everyone together to resolve our attempt to resolve these issues and provide a solution to our public, who are so important to us, who consume these services. And while we would love to be in a position in Cayman where we had less money going out, we certainly recognize that it is essential that these services are provided. So it was certainly very critical to have everyone on board and to be able to address this. And certainly the parties that are represented up here on this table played a very integral role in working together very effectively and working with the ministry to be able to deliver that solution. So I think they should certainly be very much congratulated and thanked. I hope that this will be the relaunch, certainly of Western Union, will be a very long and enduring relationship between the parties here.
Hear, hear.
I would not want to have anything destabilize what has been so effectively put together here to deliver such a service to our public in the Cayman Islands. I think I've also thanked the Monetary Authority, Cayman's Monetary Authority, our regulator, and certainly I can re-emphasize that their role was very important as well, particularly in helping the ministry understand precisely what the issues are from a regulatory perspective. It would be remiss of me to not thank the existing money services providers who continued to provide a service during this period to our consumers. Were it not for their ability to adapt and to change their business model, albeit recognizing that it did create an issue in terms of the perceived excess demand and perceived shortage of US dollars. Were it not for them, we would not have had a service that would have continued to get us to this important point. So I'd like to thank them, and I certainly want them to understand that we are not giving up and looking at solutions to try to resolve the situation more generally. This is a most incredible and effective solution to restore services, full Cayman Islands dollar transaction services to our public, and that for us and the ministry and in government, that was the most important and critical thing for us to achieve. We had to be able to deliver a service to restore normalcy, and of course it has the benefit of significantly positively impacting the demand for US dollars. So those two things are certainly incredibly welcome and something for us to celebrate. And as the Premier noted, it's an opportune time for us to be saying we're celebrating something. And certainly, in addition to that, having the ability for our consumers, particularly at this time, going into the holiday season, to be able to restore normalcy, to restore some degree of certainty and convenience is so important for our people, and it is something that the government felt so strongly about that we had to push and try very hard to do all we can to resolve this issue. So with that, I certainly would just like to again reiterate the thanks, very heartfelt thanks of everyone in the ministry team for the way everyone worked together to provide this solution. And I hope that if we face any challenges in the future, this will be a clear indication of how we can all work together to resolve those for the best interests of the country. Thank you all very much.
Hello, everybody. It's Wendy from Cayman News Service. The mic's on. I only have one question, really, and I would imagine it's probably going to be for Miss Muldoon. Obviously, we know the broad reasons why Fidelity pulled out of their relationship with Western Union. What is it that you see that isn't a problem that they saw as a problem?
Well, two things. We have a long-standing relationship with Grace Kennedy Group of companies across the Caribbean region. And we have confidence in Grace Kennedy's and Western Union's ability, knowledge, expertise to successfully deliver the money transfer service to the residents of the Cayman Islands.
Just a quick follow-up. So that obviously you're not concerned about the offshore issues that they were concerned about.
We have an inherent strong risk and compliance culture within Scotia, and we have comfort with our partners, Grace Kennedy and Western Union.
Okay, Shanda Gallego with Radio Cayman. Just wanted to kind of have the clarity there. Fidelity decided the cash transfer businesses was too high risk. What does that mean? Just for people to, I guess, get a better understanding.
I think it might be useful just if I responded in respect to that. Certainly what was communicated to us at the ministry by Fidelity at the time was that this was a business which had multiple competing interests or competing businesses providing this service in Cayman. Given the level of compliance requirements, costs obviously went up over time, and in their view there was a marginal business case for them at that time, and they also, I think, were being asked to enhance their compliance requirements, compliance procedures. And my understanding was at the time that they decided that it was not something they felt was a viable investment for them. Perhaps our colleague from Western Union might have something to add to that, but that was my understanding.
No, I think you've said it eloquently. There were a number of competing priorities, and I do want to say that Western Union enjoyed a 20-year relationship with Fidelity, and they have served us, honorably and worked with us to build the business here in Cayman. Looking forward to the future, there is inherent benefit in having an agent that is solely focused on the remittance business. That brings it at a certain level of dexterity when it comes to providing services for customers, which translates to something as simple as more convenient locations, more convenient hours of operation, innovation around service offerings, et cetera, et cetera. So I've already spoken about the robustness of their compliance program. And working with the Scotiabank, we've been sure to cover all of the areas that were present as a risk, and that are even for those issues that are maybe emerging. This is something, compliance is not static, it's an ongoing effort, and we're working closely with our agent partners and with our banking partners as well.
And if I can add to that, Andre, I think Grace Kennedy Money Services experience is strong on handling cash. For instance, our Jamaica business handles 100% cash, and we do believe that we have the management capabilities and skills and system to be able to handle that. And I definitely think that is something we will bring to the Cayman market space. And I think that is also give our bankers a level of comfort in terms of the system that we have put in place. So I'm very comfortable in terms of handling cash here in the Cayman Islands.
Charles Duncan with the Compass. Ms. Muldoon, so I'll try not to get too technical, but so are you going to offer accounts to the other money services companies, or this is just for Grace Kelly?
This decision was based on an existing relationship with a longstanding 90-plus year Scotia customer, Grace Kennedy, and a longstanding relationship with Western Union.
And do you provide correspondent banking for them in other jurisdictions, or?
Yes, we have relationships across our international footprint with Grace Kennedy and Western.
Yes, we do. We have a relationship with Scotia out of we were just talking about British Virgin Islands today. We have one in Trinidad and Tobago as well. And of course, where our corporate office is in Jamaica. So we have a long-standing relationship with Scotia.
I'm not sure who this is directed to. Ben Mead from Cayman Weekly. So Western Union will now be allowing its customers to transfer funds using CI dollars. As I understand it, the other money transfer companies still restricted to US dollars. Am I correct, Minister Panton? What enabling environment has allowed Western Union, Grace Kennedy, Scotiabank to be allowed to conduct the transactions in CI dollars while the other is still restricted to US dollars?
I definitely think what we responded in terms of saying our program. I think any banker is going to want to see certain systems and procedures happening. And I think based on the experience and what we've been doing at Grace Kennedy Money Services, we were able to show that to our bankers and give them the confidence that we would be able to manage. And although no, it's only CI, we are looking to look at U.S. currency as well as we build our relationship. So I think the answer is really the experience, the controls we have put in place, and the comfort level we're giving to our bankers in terms of handling that part of the operations.
Man, just to add to that, as far as we're aware right now, Grace Kennedy is the only operation that's licensed that has a CI dollar operating account with a local bank. And that is essentially what is necessary for the other MSBs to transact in CI dollars. Of course, behind that means that they have a correspondent banking relationship as well with one of the major U.S. banks in order to be able to convert currencies and effect international transfers. So Grace Kennedy is the only operation at this point. What we said to begin with at the commencement of this issue was that this was a commercial problem and required a commercial solution. What you see here this afternoon is the commercial solution coming together very effectively to work. In the past, when I've talked about this, there has been a recognition and disclosure that the parties that could successfully bring a commercial solution are parties that do have some degree of prominence and leverage and long-standing relationships. Because the costs associated with, particularly because of as was said earlier, because of the evolving compliance nature, costs have gone up, and some people feel that the risk reward isn't quite right for them. So, if you don't have a good long-standing relationship with clients where you have other significant business that the commercial parties that are involved can benefit from, it becomes a bit more difficult to justify a sort of niche approach in that specific type of business for some money services providers and the banks that traditionally provided services to them. And of course, we know that over time, many of the banks had sort of moved out of this, that were involved in this space, had sort of moved away from it, and there was much more of a concentration of operations with one or two local banks. And when there were issues with their established correspondent banks, then they decided they were not going to provide these banking services locally anymore, and that was the start of the issue. So today is a conclusion to that, where we have someone with the right sort of connections and the right leverage and the right relationships to be able to make this work. And it's because it's not just a standalone question of, making money from one small type of operation. It's a much broader relationship.
If I may add 2 points. One is I think a large part of it has to come from the priority that the business will put on the Cayman market. At the moment of the closure, right through the senior levels of the organization, we prioritized reopening. The second priority that we recognized was going to be critically important was being able to offer services in local currency. And with those two priorities, that was our focus. Once working with Grace Kennedy Money Services, reaching out with them, with Scotiabank, right up to our corresponding leaderships, having conversations as to how we could work together. Those are the priorities that were set in place at the very senior levels of the organization. And after a very great many weeks of effort, we're able to provide return services back to Cayman. So I would say that the priorities that the companies put on returning services to our customers is also should be brought into credence.
Ralph Lewis, Cayman Weekly, and these questions are for Ms. Allen. Welcome to the Cayman Islands, by the way. The first one, do you have an idea of where your other locations will be? And the second question is, are there any new procedures for the clients when they're about to remit transactions with you?
Okay, definitely our next location would have to be in Cayman Brac, and we're actively working to put a location there. We do believe the 4 locations in Grand Cayman on the Foster's Supermarket is sufficient for this time, but I'm sure he's willing to grow with us. In terms of new procedures, in terms of collecting and receiving transfer, there are no major new changes in terms of receiving transfer. The only thing we will add as Grace Kennedy Money Services, we're always looking at our procedures and policies and upgrading as need be. As you can understand, the regulatory market change, compliance requirements change. So we're always keeping ahead of that curve. So that would be the only change, but immediately, no major change to the consumer here in Grand Cayman.
Joe Avery, Cayman 27. I just wanted to get one of you gentlemen with government to kind of paint a picture. You guys said that you kept it kind of tight-lipped at what was going on behind the scenes. And in the last week, Mr. Panton, you kind of alluded to there was one little stumbling block that you needed to get over to make this deal happen. What was that? And taking it back to when everything went down, how dire was the situation? I mean, you guys played it cool, obviously, but there was some worry in the undercurrents that I was picking up.
Yeah, Joe, thanks for that. Certainly, one of government's important roles is to make sure that the markets function as they should, and that you minimize the situations in which extreme concern or panic can be created or might occur. And I think in this case, yes, we were being quite tight-lipped about what we were working on, and some of the various factors that were relevant to the issue. Anything that could impact our economy, we have to manage it very carefully, and we have to make sure that the messages are relevant and appropriate. Of course, we feel we have an obligation to be as transparent as we could or as we can in all instances, and I think this is just one of those where you try to get the balance right, so that you're as forthright and transparent as you can be, without discussing all the various issues that concern you at any one point in time as you're working through some of the problems. I think we certainly did not want to be promising people a solution at a particular point in time and then have them feel let down and perhaps have them lose confidence that a solution was possible. So we were very measured in our communications and in our approach for all of those reasons. In terms of the first element of it, I did mention that there was one slight delaying factor, and that was simply one of working through a normal process with some of the parties, or one of the parties, just in terms of some general due diligence stuff, as I understood from some of the parties represented here. It was a very minor thing. It was just something that ended up delaying things a little bit. But certainly, when you're here today and we can represent and acknowledge that they're open, the parties here are open for business, and Western Union and Grace Kennedy are delivering a much needed essential service to our public in the Cayman Islands. The little delays and the little hiccups are really neither here nor there and not relevant.
Now, the statistics I've seen show that JN Money Transfers kind of handles the lion's share of outflow cash from Cayman. How far are they away from achieving a similar solution? I know that some people in the business community have said that they're heavily invested JN Money Transfer, with buildings and such, and they think that, they hope that you guys are working as hard to get a JN Money Transfer solution as you were to facilitate this deal with Western Union.
Yeah, and certainly, thanks for that, and certainly that's correct. As I said in my opening comments, we have not forgotten that there are other parties that are involved who perhaps haven't been able to come to government and say we have a commercial solution. We have all the necessary bits and pieces, and can you help us work this out? As the parties represented here this afternoon did. But we haven't forgotten them, and we will continue to try to find a way. As I said, very importantly, I said earlier, and the Premier has said, and everyone else that discussed this issue from government's perspective has said, is that this requires a commercial solution. It's not, there is no policy lever you can pull. There's no legislative lever you can pull to fix it. If it was, or if we had a magic wand, we would have waved it a long time ago or pulled the levers a long time ago. So this is something that, we will continue to work with the other parties. As I said, I'm very grateful for them to actually adapting their business model and continuing to provide a service where it may not have existed otherwise. So certainly very happy and very grateful for that. And not just for that reason, but we will continue to work with them and try as hard as we can to find a solution that they can continue in business as well.
Going once? Going twice? Gone. Thank you. I am now going to ask our panelists if there are participants, if there are any closing remarks that you would care to make before we have our official closing.
Well, Grace Kennedy Money Services, we're very happy to be here. I think we have worked very long over the last 3 months, along with the ministry, and I really have to thank you for that. Your team was outstanding. I mean, they were really there holding us and bringing us through this process. We look forward to working here in Cayman, so that would be our closing remarks.
Thank you.
I would certainly close it from my side by saying thank you very much to all of the commercial parties, all of the people represented here, and a big, 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 big thank you on behalf of all of our important people and residents in the Cayman Islands who find these services essential, particularly at this time of the year.
Closing thoughts, we're just very grateful to have worked with our outstanding colleagues to return services to the market. We have heard from a great many of our customers and the levels of frustration that they had during this time where we were not in service, as well as their loved ones around the world, most notably Jamaica, the Philippines, and a great many other markets. And we are just overjoyed to be able to return services and to let them know that they can now send money back again with their family and friends and loved ones again in this important season. Thank you.
Say thanks. I suppose it looks odd if I don't. I just want to say that I am delighted as Premier that I can now look particularly at my Jamaican and Filipino constituents, and when they ask me the question, as they do every day, Mr. Premier, when you fix the problem, to tell them that we are happy that the problem has been resolved. And again, I want to thank all of the parties concerned. I've already thanked them, but to thank them from the bottom of my heart. And on behalf of all of the people of Cayman and all the people resident in Cayman and who work in Cayman, who welcome the resumption of these services. I've already, since the announcement yesterday, I've already received about 10 texts saying, thank God, we have the ability to send money back home to our friends and family. We don't have to scramble every Friday, particularly, to find US dollars to do so. So thanks again.
With that, we will have our closing. I invite Noel Greenland to come to the podium with Grace Kennedy Money Services.
Thank you so much, Angela. Before we close, I just want to personally add my thank you. Thank you, Angela. Minister Panton, I just want you to know that she has become my new best friend. We have had wonderful conversations, and the truth is, all what you have seen here today is because of Angela. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Minister, Minister of the Financial Services, we recognize you, sir. We also recognize the Premier. Thank you. Premier, Minister of Home Affairs, Health and Culture. Very interesting title. Thank you so very much. Thank you, every member of the panel. for facilitating us here today. What a pleasure and a privilege it is for Grace Kennedy to be here in the Cayman Islands. I want to say thanks as well to the team that has worked with us. You know, Woody Foster is someone whom I have met as well over the last couple of weeks via the telephone, and he has become a really special individual to me. Thank you so much, Woody, for all of your support, the many late emails and the many late calls, and even on Saturdays and Sundays. I thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to say thanks as well to every member of the Grace Kennedy team. Michelle Allen would have spoken about her team. I want to acknowledge at this time Vinette Rowe. She's here. She's our marketing manager. And Michelle spoke about a consumer promotion that will start in about the middle of next month. So please look out for that. Errol Coleman, our IT specialist, is at the back somewhere there. Not seeing him just now. Michael Matt Norton is also there. Michael, thank you. Paulette Garcia. Paulette has been a Trojan, you know, someone whom we have taken all the way from Trinidad to say, come and to help us to get this market up and running. Paulette, thank you. Really and truly thank you. Please convey thanks as well to your family back home. Thank you so much. You know, we mustn't take these things for granted. And when people have dedicated time, effort, and resources to be with us, we have to say thanks. I want to thank the members of the press for coming out as well. Every single member here, thank you so much. Thank you for your questions. And we look forward to working with you as we go forward. And to you, ladies and gentlemen, who are here representing the different interest groups, thank you so much. What a pleasure again it is for me. We look forward to working and serving the people of the Cayman Islands, and we'll do so with a degree of compassion, understanding, and we want you to know that our doors are open 24 hours for you to be in touch with us, as we will be with you. Thank you again. Have a great Christmas, everybody, and may God bless you all. Thank you.